Hi, today we're building a small web project where we use PHP and MySQL to get data of the name and comments from the users and store it into MySQL database. So let's dive right in. For the code itself, we're gonna need to include the first of all a connection with the database. So we put it under config and then database.php where you put in your host, user, password, database info, where you can set up in your MySQL bench before you create instances, and you get all the info. And then we need to establish the connection between the web page and the database. Also, if there's any sort of connection error, it's gonna pop up and showing the message. As for the next part of the index page, we can define 4 variables: name and body. Also, the arrow messages for the name and the body. As you can see in this page, the only functional part is the submit button. So we want to check if it's set the submit post. Then if the name is empty, we need the name to be typed and it's gonna be a name error message. Else, if we get it from the user, then we filter the input with the input post and the name field, and we filter sanitize for special chars. Similar thing with the body part, we get the input, and the second part will be we check if both the name error and the body errors are empty. Then we can go ahead and insert into the table with the 2 values from name and body variables into SQL, and we make a MySQLi query, get connected, and insert the data in there. And the last but not least part is the HTML part where we have the header, and we check if the name is set. If it's set, then we get the name from the name variable. Otherwise, it's just going to be an empty string. And we put one paragraph or just one line of leave your comments. And the next part will be the forms. We have 2 forms, and I guess the most important part is the action, where you will need to use the action to put from PHP echo HTML special chars and put it into the server of PHP itself. And of course, the method is the post. So as for the name, we put a label of the name, and we get the input, and we'll use form control to prevent any sort of name error where it's not valid, and we're just gonna store the value into this name variable. Similar thing would be with the comments part, where the body part is, you use form control and get the body error. And we're gonna need to echo or store the inputs into this body variable. And the very last thing would be this submit button. We get the input. So let's get the connections. If you go to system preferences if you're on Mac, and then you open up MySQL and start MySQL server and put down your password. And now our database server is up and running. And the other thing we need to do is to use PHP to start the web server, which is at 127.0.0.1 and port 8000. And I'm pretty sure the server has started too. So if we go back to our page, and we can start to put in names. Let's see, Annie, and it was awesome, and submit. As you can see, the connection is built, and we get the name. So let's check in our database to see if we created, and under the name and body. So we make a query, select all from this table and execute it. Yep, we have this Annie going on, inserted into our database. And the reason it started from number 20, like I had done a few databases before, but this is about the basic forms, and of course you can also add footer and header with the pretty CSS styles, and also we don't have to every time have to go back to the database to get this all this data. We can also put another PHP file where we can look up and search for the data that we need. So this I guess this is about it for using PHP and MySQL to get info from the user and store it into the database and connect and edit MySQL. Hope this is helpful, and see you next time.